pure sunflower oil, endorsed as a diamond partner by the Heart and Stroke Foundation. Cook with confidence, serving the best to the people you love, from one dish to the next. Sunfoil, the heart of good cooking.
Save the date. Hajj Seminar 2026 is back. Saturday, 11th April, 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at 207 West Road in Overport. Proudly brought to you by the Al Ansar Foundation and the Capital Group of Companies.
Iqra Wafham. Read and understand the Holy Quran. Your program giving you the most powerful manual for life. It's the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Last Testament. The ayahs are recited, translated and explained for us to understand by various learned scholars of Islam. Comes to you every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Fridays at 10:30 p.m. Iqra Wafham. Read and understand.
The views and opinions expressed by the guest and presenters of Radio Al Ansar are not necessarily the views and opinions of Radio Al Ansar and the Al Ansar Foundation.
Doctors and guests on a Medical Files program will help you with any medical problems you have by giving you advice on air. However, they do not have your full medical history and they have not seen you. Please verify the advice given to you on air with your doctor who knows you better. Neither the doctors nor Radio Al Ansar will be held responsible for any ill health caused by the advice given on Radio Al Ansar.
Under the stars, I raise my hands in prayer. Tears falling, carrying my despair. Your memories linger, they fill my heart with grace. In every shadow, in every vacant place. Oh Allah, grant me strength to bear. I hope the angels look over you, my friend. Inshallah, we'll meet again in Jannah, where there's no end. You smile and go deep within. Though we're apart, oh, you can count on me, my friend. In the gardens of the merciful, we will reunite. Under His mercy, bathed in eternal light. Oh Allah, grant me strength to bear. I hope the angels look over you.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to our listeners on this Saturday morning on Radio Al Ansar 90.4 and Peter Marisburg 105.6 FM. I'm Shubnum Ismail on the Pulse Show, capturing the heartbeat of our community. And today, we're shining a spotlight on health and well-being, bringing together experts and resources to empower you with knowledge and support. We're tackling a critical topic that affects millions nationwide and worldwide: renal failure. We'll dive into the causes, symptoms, and treatment options for the silent killer. So joining me today is James Ngcobo Sabona. James, how are you, and welcome to the Pulse Show.
I'm fine, and how are you?
Absolutely ecstatic that we're going to unpack such great content today. So listeners, James is been in the renal field for a long time. He's had experience in the acute sector, having worked in emergency and ICU. He's also developed a heart for renal and kidney patients. So he's going to share his inspiring journey with the patients and what he does to help them survive. So let's give it up for James Ngcobo. So listeners, remember that let's get started on understanding this complex condition and exploring the latest advancement when it comes to treatment. And we're going to look at vital topics that's going to get you screened and taking the first step towards a healthier and happier you. So, James, let's talk about what is renal or kidney disease.
Hi everyone. My name is James Ngcobo. I'm working the company P Brown Avicham Dialysis. We're based in Pietermaritzburg, 345 Baker Street. I'm there. I'm a unit manager of that place, and I'm dealing with the kidney like a renal failure patient. So the way I got my patient who are coming to do dialysis on daily basis. So when I'm talking about the kidney failure, is a stage where your kidneys are failing to work. Sometimes starting at the early stage, they end up with end stage. So if I'm talking about the kidney disease, is the kidneys they lose like to do their function. Sometimes people that don't feel like to have any early signs and symptoms is a silent disease. And then the common causes for that normally is those people who got uncontrolled diabetics and then uncontrolled hypertension, and then can lead to a renal failure.
So, James, a doctor diagnosing a newly patient with renal impairment can be quite, shocking, frightening. What sort of recommendations you would make to a patient that's newly diagnosed with kidney disease?
Normally, we face with those newly diagnosed patients. Normally, they become anxious. Some of them, they shock in their life. But what we do, we support them, we guide them, because even the programs that we put them, some of that program is 90 days that we monitor them and we telling them. Even there in the unit, we got those patients who survive with the kidney failure for more than 10 years and above. So it's manageable, but we need to spend time with the patient to support them psychological. Sometimes we ask the dietitian to intervene and the social workers because it's a journey, it's a long journey, because they're going to change their entire life, especially on diets. Even when they were staying at home, normally we include the family members and then we support them, because even at home we need more support, because everything is going to be completely changed, because now we're starting the renal diet and all the things that we were doing. We're going to monitor you and we guide you step by step to make sure that you're comfortable. And because at this stage, most patients on the first time, they need more support.
Absolutely. In terms of dialysis, who would qualify to attend?
For dialysis, normally everyone needs to do a screen, because if we do a screen, we can see that you still don't have any signs, early signs of kidney failures. Because once you detect earlier, normally it will not become a renal failure. We can guide you to change your diet, and it prolongs for you your kidneys to get like you get a kidney failure, because sometimes when you control your diet, you won't able to come to like a renal failure because your diet is right and then your kidneys are working well. But the problem is you need to check your blood maybe at least twice a year. Normally doctors, they do urine and creatinine. Sometimes you're doing FBCs to see the readings from there. If the readings are right or there's something wrong at early age, we're going to take some further step to give you health education and then how to control your diets. Normally, I prefer people to do checks at least twice a year.
So, listeners, our kidneys are very important to us. And I also support James that renal screenings need to be a priority so that our health and well being is in check all the time. So, James, what are the different types of dialysis? Can you enlighten our listeners and how would they differ?
Okay, got normally the two type of dialysis that people they know or we're doing, because we got one, they call it hemodialysis. Another one, they call it peritoneum dialysis. So the two different things, normally where we are, we support both because you got patient with PD, that is peritoneum dialysis, and HD, which is hemodialysis. So those two treatment are working the same, but it's different because PD you can do it at home, but hemodialysis you need to come to the dialysis center, and then from there we can treat you. Normally the session are taking 4 hours. Some patients they do in 3 hours, but the recommended one is 4 hours session. When I'm talking about hemodialysis, normally the patient, they put in a device, they call it the dialysis catheter. Normally they put it on the chest or on the groin, depends where the doctor they find the veins. And then the PD, they put it on the abdomen. And then from there, they're using peritoneal layer, which is used to fill waste. But end of the day, they're working the same because our aim is to remove those toxins that are not like when you're passing urine, not passing them because now your kidney is not functioning well. So they're remaining on your bloodstream and then they'll make you feeling sick. And then sometimes most of the patient, they're not passing enough urine. The fluid is retaining back. And then they end up with fluid overloaded.
And how do you determine the best dialysis modality for patients?
The best dialysis modality for the patient normally depends on the patient because the PD one, some patients like they're struggling with the transport, some they're working, they don't have days off. And then we prefer them to do PD because PD you can do it at home. There's no cost of money to come to the dialysis, even to come early. But that's the advantage of PD. But sometimes the PD, the complication is infection. Because those patients, you need to treat them how to do about hygiene and hand washing and all those stuff because you make sure that your place is clean. You make sure that you do a proper hand hygiene before you touch anything to prevent infection. Hemodialysis is that one they're putting a device, a catheter. Some we're using the thing, we call it fistula. And then those devices that we use on you, you're coming straight to our unit early in the morning because normally we schedule our patient the time. Sometimes some patients, they're coming early morning by 5 o'clock because they're working late. So they need to finish dialysis and go straight to work. Those ones, they're depending on us because we're doing everything for them and we're close monitoring them until they finish dialysis to prevent any complication.
And that leads to my next question. You know, in my facility, I also see patients having those 4 hours even further with dialysis, sometimes 3 times a week, longer. Look, obviously, it's quite a lifestyle adjustment. What advice or key factors would you advise a patient when it comes to planning the way forward with these plans? Obviously, if you're working, you know, your management need to obviously accommodate you. Is there any support that you
Yes,
offer?
there's support that we give it to them because firstly, when you come to us, we ask you where you're working and then how long, maybe how many days. And then for us, we're going to write a letter to give to your boss. And then after that, we're going to tell them maybe if you're working around 8, we're going to reschedule your treatment to come at 5 in the morning. So we know 5 to 9 you're done. And then after that, we can write the letter to tell them maybe if they can allow you to start at 10. Because even in the units at the moment, you got those patients who are working. And then they don't have a problem because we need to communicate with their employer. And then after that, they give us go ahead. And then we're telling them like sometimes will come like when after dialysis, they become weak. So they must know that they must give you a light duty work.
And how do you involve your patients with education and keeping them informed?
Normally, we got education, like pamphlets that we're giving to them. We sit down with them because we need them to comply with diet to make sure that they're not getting sick. And then now there's some food they're not supposed to eat, and then some of the food they need to cut it off, totally off. But we sit with them, and then after that we include dietitians, like to give them a plan, like to cook and everything. So patient need to eat the right diet, because some of diets are good, some of them no, is not good for a renal failure patient.
And how do you manage patients with anemia in renal care?
Normally, patient with anemia, we're doing bloods every month, which is a routine that we do, and then we advise the patient too about diet with rich in iron to check if the patient's got low HBs and stuff. And then, because the patient with renal failure, on the kidneys, there's a hormone which is responsible to boost up the hemoglobin. So now that hormone is not active anymore. So now we give them their medication, we call it EPO. Normally we give them weekly as doctor's order. It's helping them like to tell the bone marrow to produce more blood cells, so the HB needs to be maintained, because the patient needs to have a HB between 10 to 12. So we make sure that we educate them about diet, and then every month we're doing bloods and check their HBs, and then we give EPO injection as doctor orders, and then it's very important to make sure that the HB remain between 10 and 12.
So, James, there will be complications with the dialysis program. How do you manage that at your facility?
Normally, patient they can complicate on the machine, because some of patient got problem with blood pressure, because machine can drop the blood pressure of the patient. So what we do, we monitor them closely. We make sure that every 30 minutes blood pressure is done and checked. And we advise them in the morning, like dialysis, like on the day for dialysis, to skip their hypertension medication, because if they can take those medication, we could have a complication of hypotension during the session. So we normally advise them to bring their medication with them in case if their BPs get elevated during the treatment.
I hear you. So, how do you support patients with kidney disease in managing their comorbidities? For example, you spoke about hypertension, diabetes, and other conditions.
Normally, we support them because firstly, we got their chronic meds like for hypertension and diabetes with us in our file. And then we sit down with them, we advise them how to take it. Normal those patients who are diabetic, so we advise them to go to buy their HTT machine. Sometimes we ask the pharmacy to give it to them. So when they're at home, before they eat, they must test their sugar to make sure that the sugar is, they must know the ranges, because if it's low, they're not supposed to take any injection or any tablets, because the sugar is normal. If it's high, they have to take their medication as doctor's prescription. Same thing with hypertension. They need to have the BP machine at home. They need to check their BPs regularly before they take their meds. Because now if the BP is normal, if you're taking your medication, BP is going to drop. Some of the patients, they stay alone. Maybe everyone they're working. So now they need to know what to do, and they need to know how to take their medicine correctly as doctor's orders. Because when they come in the room, sometimes I ask them, how was your BP this morning? They'll tell me my BP was fine. And then the sugar, they check it in the morning. Even us, when they come, is the first thing, because you need to see their baseline before you commence them. And then after that, we plan, and they'll make sure that they know the right readings, because they can able to see when they must take their meds.
James, I see your slogan is consistently exceeding expectations. And let's unpack that a little bit. So, how do you monitor the effectiveness of your dialysis treatment with your patients?
Normally, during that session, we make sure that the patient, normally we recommend them to do 4-hour session, which is good for them to get a good clearance, because our machine is made up like to see how they're clearing up, because our aim is to remove all this waste product from the patient. Normally it's urea, and we check potassium, we check creatinine, because those things, like when they pass in their urine, is not passing out because are big molecules. So during our treatment, we make sure it's effective. Firstly, we're checking, because some patients have got comorbidities like heart failure. We can't go up with the pump speed high because it's not good for them. But we make sure that end of the session, they reach the target, and then they reach the good clearance. And then every month we're doing bloods, and then they're showing us how they're clearing up with all this toxin on their system, and to make sure that patient is getting good life.
So, the quality of your care
Yes.
is always of the highest standard.
Yes.
And with that, listeners, let's take a quick ad break. And when we return, we're going to dive into more discussions on renal kidney management care. And our guest, James Ngcobo, is sharing such beautiful insights on this very crucial topic. Stay tuned, and we'll reconnect in a short while.
Al-Ansar, 24/7, 365.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
Durban, are you ready to shop till you drop? The Durban Shopping Festival is back from the 3rd to 6th of April at the Durban Exhibition Centre, bringing you 4 days of incredible shopping and unbelievable deals. And this year, it's all about the deals. Discover fashion steals, beauty must-haves, home decor, delicious food, and so much more. Whether you're a bargain hunter or treating yourself, this is where the best finds are waiting. Don't miss the shopping event everyone's going to talk about. The Durban Shopping Festival. Shop more, save more, enjoy more. Durban's greatest shopping event of the year.
ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن. Invite all to the way of your Lord with wisdom and beautiful preaching, and reason with them in a way that is best and most gracious. Join Shabir Pasha every Saturday at 7 p.m. on the show Dawa Dynamics, and every Sunday on the Dawa Chronicles at 9 p.m. Remembering the companions of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Join the discussion, analyze the lives, sacrifices, and contributions of the Prophet's companions, and learn from their experience.
Radio Al-Ansar, 24/7, 365.
Doctors and guests on a medical files program will help you with any medical problems you have by giving you advice on air. However, they do not have your full medical history and they have not seen you. Please verify the advice given to you on air with your doctor who knows you better. Neither the doctors nor Radio Al-Ansar will be held responsible for any ill health caused by the advice given on Radio Al-Ansar.
In your eyes, my little one. Not long ago, I was all so young. When you wake up and hold your own, know with each wrinkle there's some lessons you'll learn. By the time you learn to love, you'll have to learn to lose. It's one day I'll be leaving you, but hold on tight like you did. When you get a chance, say and pray like this. Paris has turned to sin, and one day we'll all be joining them. Pray you stay firm, hope you stay kind. Pray you always learn from the best of mankind. By the time you learn to love, you'll have to learn to lose. One day I'll be leaving you. Like you once did. When you get tipsy and pray like this. From the
And we're back, listeners. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is a Saturday morning on Radio Al Ansar 90.4 and Peter Marisburg 105.6 FM. You're connected with Shubnum Ismail on the Peter Marisburg Medical Pulse show. So we're capturing the heartbeat of the community. And today we are shedding light on something very important. Our discussion is on renal impairment with James Ngcobo, who's in the studio with us, and he's sharing insights on this crucial topic. So stay tuned and let's get over to our questions with James this morning. James, it's great to have you with us.
Yes, thank you.
So can you tell our listeners what is the function of our kidneys and why it's important that we take care of them?
Okay. The functions of our kidneys are playing a crucial role in our body. They remove all the waste products from our system and they regulate even the blood pressure. And on the kidneys, they produce the hormone, which they call it erythropoietin, which is very important. They always, you would like the hormone is telling the bone marrow to produce more blood red cells. That is increasing our HB in our body. And the kidneys are doing the regulating the pH in our body. And without kidneys, that's why now we're starting struggling, because even the water are returning back to our system. So without a kidney is a problem, because everything in blood is buying the kidneys and then it gets excreted. Even the water is coming out through our system using the kidneys.
So James, can someone survive on one kidney?
Yes, we got those candidates to survive with one kidney, but even we got one kidney, we must take care of that kidney. Because even we got two kidneys, some people, they can donate one kidney to their friend or to their relative, and then they can survive with one kidney.
So at your facility, how would you monitor the effectiveness of the treatment plan for a patient?
No, for the patient, when they come, we check everything, because we do blood to check our baseline for our patient to see what went wrong, which like those things like creatinine and urea, how high are they? And then after that, from there, we're starting our treatment. Every month, every day, we checking the patient treatment to make sure that is effective. And then after that, we make sure that the patient is getting good care and the clearance. And then on our monthly basis, we got our target that we look at to check the patient, how is kidney functioning, because we compare it from the previous one. But more of our patient, like 90% or 99% of our patients, their kidney care, we got they got good clearance, and then we make sure that their kidneys function are working well, because we need to take care and to make sure that our clearance and everything for the patient is coming up. Because we do blood and everything to check even those with BPs. Those BPs are stable every day because they're on treatment.
So you have a huge function when it comes to your portfolio. You not only manage your center, but you have to work with nephrologists as well as physicians and multi-acute facilities to ensure that you are keeping your finger on the pulse when it comes to renal education, renal impairment, and walking through your patient's journey. So, how do you manage the challenges in your profession?
Yeah, the challenge is to make sure that we always on spot, because we got like working together with nephrologists, doctors, together with dietitian, and then to make sure that patients get a support from us. And sometimes if there's a problem, I'm the one who calling the doctor to make sure that our patient, if they got problem, because sometimes when they went to the doctor, they don't mention everything because they don't know what's wrong. Because for us, we're sitting with them every day. And then we like a family now, because they're coming to us to do dialysis every second day. So it's easy for them to be open on us, to tell us their challenges at home, because sometimes we involve their family to come and then we explain everything, because those patients are weak. Sometimes the diet, they don't have a good appetite. So we need to involve everyone to support the patient. But even at home, they got my number. If they're struggling or they got any problem, they phone me anytime. So if I need to call the doctor, I'm doing that same time.
We have a question from one of our listeners, and they wanted to know, can you elaborate about the stages of renal impairment and how often should patients on dialysis have blood work done?
Okay, about the stages of dialysis patient. Here, there's a blood test they do when they check, they call it a GFR. Normally, they're checking the function of the kidney. Because normally, if it's above 90, your kidney is working normally. So on the stage 1, if it's above 90, that's your urine, like passing urine doing functional. But now when it's starting like multi-reduce the function kidneys, when they're checking on the blood, their GFR is between 60 to 89. Now the doctor going to tell you your kidneys are starting like they're not working well. But doctor normally on that stage, they can advise you to change your diet so we prolong the kidney failure. If the kidney failure is going down to stage 3, on the blood test, the GFR is normally between 30 to 59. That means your kidneys, they're coming down now, not doing like the clearance and everything is down, and they're not doing their function normally. So need to see a doctor, like to check blood maybe twice a year, or sometimes doctor, they give you appointment to come to see them. And then when they check again, the kidney is going down to stage 4. Stage 4 is between 15 to 29%. That means now your kidneys are in danger. So some doctors, they can refer you to start to do hemodialysis, because our last stage, which is the end stage kidney failure, if your kidneys, when they check GFR, is below 15. So there you depend on the machine now to do dialysis. Normally it's 3 times a week. Some patients, they do 2 times a week. So doctor is telling you now you need to start the treatment because your kidneys are not doing their function anymore.
So I'd like to reiterate, listeners, it is imperative that you actually plan your wellness and plug yourself to have your wellness checked, especially for your kidneys. And, just to talk about, the renal failure side, James, I'm sure you actually receive patients that's already, they come to you at the last stages. And how do you deal with the emotional side of saying, look, you're unable to get on the system and we're unable to help you? Can you elaborate to the listeners what sort of support they can
Yeah,
get?
when the patient, they coming on the last stage, we explain it to them, because some doctors, they're starting with discuss with doctors. When they come into us, we need to discuss with them now what's the plan to go forward. Because now this patient, some patient, they're not even passing urine at that stage. Some they're passing not enough scant urine. and we're telling them that their kidneys are not working well. From now on, we're going to use the machine to help you to take excessive water in your body, and then even to take those toxins out. But we always advise them that when you're starting dialysis, is not like you're ending your life. No, we're there to support you, and then going to guide you the step by step, because now their life is going to change completely. Because normally we advise them about diet that they need to start, and then after that we telling them they need to restrict the fluid intake, because if they're drinking a lot of water, they end up not breathing well, become fluid overloaded.
So tell our listeners, obviously your patients come through, they actually schedule for their treatment. What happens if you have a complication with your treatment?
Normally we always telling them like the side effect when you're doing dialysis, because some of them they don't know, because sometimes the blood pressure can drop during dialysis, sometimes the sugar level can drop during dialysis. So especially those one who got those comorbidities, so they at risk. And then, but during dialysis, we always sitting with them around, because we always checking them, how they're doing. Sometimes when they're sleeping, we wake up the patient, you okay? And to make sure that he's fine. Because we think patient is sleeping, maybe the patient BP drops during dialysis. But even our machine is notifying us, like when the patient is unstable, like the BP is down, because we set up our machine to do BP every 15 minutes, especially those new ones, because this first time on the machine, they can complicate.
So James, it's just not a ordinary job. I mean, you guys are seeing these patients weekly, thrice a week. You're building a solid relationship. You're walking their journey with them
Yes,
to ensure that they have a longer lifespan. So
yes.
emotionally, you bond with them, and that's beautiful in a way, but it's also emotionally taxing for you guys.
Yes, but now we used to sit with them because we treat them like our parents, because they're our mothers and our fathers and our brothers. So even them, they open, because when they were there, we sitting down and make jokes to make them feeling more comfortable. Because once we build a good relationship with the patient is easy for them to come out and tell you they're like what they're facing with and everything. And from there, we make sure that we support them with everything. So we make sure that we become a second family with us, because once they got something to share, we're there for them. If there's something we need to go extra miles, we do that.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah, for the great work that you guys are doing out there in the community. Listeners, if you've joined Radio Al Ansar, you are plugged in with Shubnum Ismail on the PMB Pulse show. Stay tuned. We are going to take a short break. And when we return, we'll be back in conversation with amazing James Ngcobo, a dedicated unit manager dealing with kidney treatment on a daily basis in our city of choice, Pietermaritzburg.
Lensar 24/7, 365.
If you are planning for just one overseas holiday for the next 5 years, be certain to choose Pakistan as your destination. Switzerland got no chance, Habibi. Northern Pakistan's fabulous mountains, beautiful valleys, majestic lakes, breathtaking scenery, lovely hotels, delicious buffet meals, a holiday to charge up the batteries. Departure 22nd April. For tour details, call or WhatsApp AB Dowji immediately 082-352-3526. Bookings are going crazy. Limited seats. Your loss if you DOS. The word is Maja.
At Radio Al Ansar, we value your feedback. If you have a broadcasting-related complaint, please send it in writing to the head of the Complaints Committee. Be sure to include your full name, contact details, a clear explanation of the complaint, and any supporting documents. You can email your complaint to feedback@alansar.org.za. That's feedback@alansar.org.za. Or visit our administrative office at 207 West Road, Overport, Durban. Your voice matters to us.
اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين على أرض فلسطين اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم حرر المسجد الأقصى من اليهود الغاصبين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المرابطين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم شد أزرهم وسدد رميهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم الطف بإخواننا في كل مكان يذكر فيه اسمك يا أرحم الراحمين. استنصروك يا الله فانصرهم. اللهم ارحم الضعفاء والفقراء والمساكين والأيتام والنازحين والمشردين والأسرى يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أنج المستضعفين من المسلمين في فلسطين. اللهم كن لهم عونا ونصيرا. اللهم كن لإخواننا المرابطين في المسجد الأقصى. اللهم كن لهم ولا تكن عليهم. اللهم فرج همهم، نفذ كربهم، داوي جرحاهم، عاف مبتلاهم، اشف مرضاهم، ارحم موتاهم، تقبل شهداءهم.
Getting through Vortex, Radio Al-Ansar.
Doctors and guests on a Medical Files program will help you with any medical problems you have by giving you advice on air. However, they do not have your full medical history and they have not seen you. Please verify the advice given to you on air with your doctor who knows you better. Neither the doctors nor Radio Al-Ansar will be held responsible for any ill health caused by the advice given on Radio Al-Ansar.
Did you look at the night, see the light of the moon? Did you look at the sun, giving you warmth? Did you look at the sky? Are you falling in love? It is from the Creator. You can't get enough. He is everywhere, and He knows we stare. Yes, He knows. Yes, He knows. He knows. You've got the world in your hands. He's the one who we're thanking for life. He is a Rahman. He is a Rahman. See the birds how to fly, feel the tears when you cry. He's the one who gives everything. He'll
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to our listeners on this Saturday morning on Radio Al-Ansar 90.4 and PT Marisburg 105.6 FM. I'm Shubnum Ismail on the Pulse Show, capturing the heartbeat of our community. As we emerge from the spiritual month of Ramadan, let's focus on nourishing our bodies and prioritizing your health. For those living with kidney disease post-Ramadan, care is crucial. So join us as we tackle some insights by James Ngcobo with his expert insights. Welcome again, James.
Thank you.
So we've discussed quite a bit and we're just going to carry on with your insight. How do you manage fluid overload with your dialysis patients?
Normally, we advise the patient about fluid overload every session to make sure they don't have any problem with breathing and stuff. Normally, we ask them to drink a small amount of fluid. Normally, we ask them to use a small bottle to drink because now we don't want to become overloaded. During summer times, we know that sometimes they're getting thirsty. So we ask them when they're feeling like they need to drink more water, to suck some ice to make sure that their mouth is moist. Because now we don't want them to get admitted because what they overload and then it's hard for them to breathe. Normally we ask them even when they drink tea or coffee, to use a small cup, not a big one. So it's easy for them to make sure they're not getting more water. So some of patient is hard for them when they're starting, but normally during the dialysis, and then now most of them, they were controlling their fluid very well because they know how to restrict their fluid, because we telling them even when you eating food, when you're making food, you're using water, so you can gain fluid indirect, not like normal water that you can drink.
Yes.
So we make sure that they not become overloaded every day, because before they start dialysis, we weigh them and to see how much they gain. And then before they go home, we weigh them to see how much fluid they remove.
So, James, early detection is absolutely key. So, obviously, getting to a nephrologist can actually help save a life. And obviously, early treatment is key in your morbidity and mortality. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, we always ask everyone to to do checks every year. And then, because if we found, the doctor, they found the early signs of kidney failure, and then they can avoid you to go down like this stage that I mentioned before, because they can make you that you must make sure that you're eating a right diet, and then make sure that if you go to those comorbidities, make sure that you take your meds, and make sure that if you go diabetic, you make sure that your sugar is always in the right limit, and BP need to be on the normal limit, because if it's high, it's going to lead you to the renal failure because they damage more kidneys. But early detection is always good for everyone to make sure that you're not getting kidney failure, because normally they prolong it to start even dialysis. You can live your normal life but change the lifestyle.
Lifestyle is key.
Yes.
So, how does your organization address the psychological impact of renal disease, and what are support systems in place for patients undergoing dialysis?
Normally, some of patients they get support from social workers, and then to make sure that even emotional and psychological, they're educated, because end of the day, their lifestyle is changing. Even in their families, we include the family members to support the patient, because we need to educate them also. Even us as the staff in the renal unit, we always supporting them with everything, because normally when they're coming from doctors, they got time to speak to the patient, but it's not enough. When they're sitting with us, normally it's more than 4 hours. We're sitting with them, we discuss everything, we give them support, because we're telling them, because we got other clients who are doing dialysis with them. Normally they're sharing their history and their journey with dialysis, and they become more friends, because normally we discuss with them, because it's not an easy journey. So they need a support now and then, but we make sure that they could support all the time.
This question is quite a sensitive one, but it's a reality in life. So, you're obviously dealing with a palliative care patient with end of life, probably renal disease. So, how would you discuss end of life care with patients and their families?
No, in the families, we support them also, because even them is a new thing in the family. Because now they need to pay more attention to the patient, to check anything, because sometimes when the patient is sick, they don't know what is happening. But we make sure that even the families, they keep in touch with us in case if there's something that they don't understand. Because end of the day, they need to make sure when the family is at home, is got more support. But even when they come into us, we make sure that we support them 100%. Even when they're sick, even when they're in hospital, normally during visiting hours, we go and see them, how they're doing, because even us, we're part of their family, and to make sure that they need that support, they got that support from us also.
That's brilliant. Going back and keeping in contact with your patients. You know, advancement in medicine really fascinates me. And I know you've just come back from a conference out of the province, and you guys are looking for key opportunities to still keep your patient informed. Would you like to actually shed light on, is there any future advancements with renal technology or medicine?
Yes, because now even our company in future, now they started already. They got some new machine which is advanced that we're using for patient patient benefits. Because we got IQ machine that is used now. We got that machine in the unit at the moment, because now that machine can show you even like the HP during dialysis without doing any test, and then even the oxygen amount in the body. And that machine is very good, and more patients were happy because now, before you're doing any blood, some of the things you can see during treatment. And we make sure that now we need to go to get more of those machines to make the patient got good life, and then they can able to detect anything during session if something goes wrong, because that machine can show you everything. And then our aim to make sure that patient is getting good dialysis and good life and prolonged life.
James, I wish you and your organization and all other organizations that do dialysis treatment, that they continue to exceed expectations when it comes to our patients' well-being. Is there any final words from your end, and how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Now I'm going to give the numbers at the end, because PBRON is almost around South Africa. When I check here, we got around 38 branches all over South Africa. If they want to do, like to check, they can go to our units, and then most of the time we're doing free screening to the public, to everyone. We can go to the mall to do screening. Sometimes we're going to the hospitals. Even in this side, we're working together with Royal Hospital, which is good for us. And then after that, we're going even on the schools, go out to do screening, because we want to do early detection to find out everyone, and to let everyone how the kidneys are affecting, because it's a silent thing, won't able to hear any symptoms, but late you're coming up, you got a problem in the kidneys. But our aim is to check the public, like do screening.
Well said. And yes, our objective here at Al Ansar is to keep education key and to keep the community informed. As we wrapped up today's discussion on kidney care, I want to thank our expert guest, James, for sharing his valuable insight. Let's take away the importance of early detection, healthy habits, and managing underlying conditions. Remember, kidney health is a vital part of overall well-being. Let's look out for each other and prioritize your health. I'd like to thank my technicians, the Al Ansar Foundation, and you listeners for checking in and tuning in to Al Ansar Pietermaritzburg. Have us and your families and all mahrooms in the du'as, inshallah. Have an excellent weekend. Until next time, stay healthy and stay informed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Medical Files program will help you with any medical problems you have by giving you advice on air. However, they do not have your full medical history and